Hi, welcome again to the old principal English instructional programs, 老校长的英文节目. We spend 1.5 hours, it's not very much time. We look at a story. Today, my wife says this is a funny story, and it is. It's a hilarious story. And she's going to read the story first, and you may find out or you may discover why it is so funny. But I will explain it in just a few minutes. So we asked the storyteller to come out. This is the one who tells me stories. Go ahead, you can use that. Okay. And this is what?
Missed opportunities.
Missed opportunities. Go ahead and go.
Dennis wanted to marry the farmer's beautiful daughter. One day he walked into the barn while the farmer was milking a cow. "Mr. Wartburg," he announced, "I like your daughter very much. Would you let me marry her?" Mr. Wartburg looked Dennis over. He was tall and as thin as a power pole. "Son," he said, "go stand in that field, and I'm going to release 3 bulls, one at a time. If you can catch the tail of any one of those 3 bulls, you can marry my daughter." The young man stood in the pasture waiting for the first bull. The barn door flew open, and out charged the biggest, meanest-looking bull he'd ever seen. "Wow," he thought. I'm going to wait for the next one. It's got to be easier than this one." So he ran over to the fence and let the bull run through the pasture and out the back gate. The barn door opened again. Unbelievable! He'd never seen any bull so big and fierce in his life. The bull stood there, pawing the ground, grunting, slinging slobber all over the place as it looked at Dennis. But the boy backed off. "The next bull has got to be a better choice than this one." He stepped aside and let this bull gallop by too, and on out the back gate. The door opened a 3rd time. This was the weakest, scrawniest little bull he'd ever seen. A smile came across his face. "This one's mine." As the bull came running by, he positioned himself just right and jumped at just the exact moment he grabbed. But the bull had no tail. Life's full of opportunities. Some will be easy to take advantage of. Some will be difficult. But once we let them pass, maybe hoping for something better, those opportunities may never come again.
Okay, thank you so much. You must come back after a while, because I am not done with you.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, we had lesson 112, Missed Opportunity, 错失的机会. So with that, missed opportunities. What does it mean to miss the opportunities? You have an opportunity, but for some reason you don't 不趁着机会. Okay? So, here we go. Dennis, his name was Dennis. 那个人的名字是 Dennis. Dennis wanted to marry the farmer's beautiful daughter. Sounds like one of those stories, right? The farmer's beautiful daughter. I think I've heard many stories about the farmer's beautiful daughter. 这个农夫很美丽的这个女儿。Okay, there are many stories about the farmer's beautiful daughter, and he wanted to marry her. 要跟她结婚。Okay, so one day he walked into the barn. Okay, so the farmer's barn. What is a barn? Is 牛房. It's a building where you put your animals. Okay. While the farmer was what? What was the farmer doing? Milking cows. Now, I'm sure that you've never had an opportunity to milk cows, but I have had a little opportunity to milk cows. I'm not very good at using my hands milking a cow. Even how many years ago? 20, 30 years ago, when I was milking cows, we used machines, 用机器挤牛奶. Okay. But a long, long time ago, the farmers did it by hand. And by the way, if you do this, you become very strong. Your hands become very strong. I tried it a few times. Not very successful. Okay. He walked into the barn while the farmer was milking a cow. Go ahead. Mr. Wartburg. So here's Dennis, and he is talking to the farmer. Mr. Wartburg, he announced, 照旧报告, okay? Okay. I like your daughter. Of course, this is a traditional story. I like your daughter very much. Would you let me marry her? Would you let me marry her? Okay. 你能不能让我跟她结婚呢？嫁给我了，意思就是这样。Okay. Now, maybe we should, in a few minutes, we should go through the experience of my experience when I asked my future father-in-law if I could marry Mrs. Ash. Well, that's one story. But there are other stories too. Going on, Mr. Wartburg looked at Dennis. He looked probably from down all the way up. He was tall and as thin, okay, 瘦到什么地步? As a power pole. You know what a power pole is? 电线杆, okay? You know, when these long things up there and you have the wires up on top, okay? So he is tall and thin. So he looks him over. And I imagine if I could, he's tapping his feet. He says, yeah. Mm-hmm. Son, he said, go stand in that field. 田地, okay? Okay, go stand in that field, and I'm going to release Fang 3 bulls, 3个公牛, 1 at a time. 一个一个来. Okay? So you just stand out there in the field. Going on. If you can catch the tail of any one of the 3 bulls, you can marry my daughter. If you can catch, 你能够抓任何一个公牛的 what? Tail, 尾巴。那么 you can marry my 你可以跟我的女儿结婚，我的女儿就嫁给你。Okay, so you understand, this is the condition, this is the test that, now, trust me, in real life, sometimes people have all sorts of tests. But this is, of course, a funny one, and it's quite interesting. Going on, the young man stood in the pasture. Okay, pasture is 天地, okay? Okay, but pasture is 草地. Okay, 草地. This is where the cows go out to eat their grass or hay or whatever it is. And so he's out there standing for, waiting for the first bull. And here he is, waiting. Going on. The barn door flew open. Very fast, flew open. And out charged, 冲出来, charged the biggest, meanest looking bull he had ever seen. Okay, biggest, meanest, 凶啊，最凶的。Okay, meanest looking, 看起来是最凶的。He had ever seen, 从来没有看过那么凶。Whoa! So, what is Dennis? He's tall, he's skinny, and here's this big bull. And what's he doing? He's running as fast as he could go. Going on. Wow! He thought, I'm going to wait for the next one. I am going to wait for the next one. 我要等到下一只啊 Okay? It's got to 肯定比较容易，比这个还要容易啊。So that's what he said. Okay, I think I will not do this one. So he goes on, going on. He ran over to the fence. Okay, 这个篱笆. And he ran over to the fence, and he probably jumped over it. He got out of the way of the bull, and he let the bull run through the pasture. So this bull, this 公牛, is running through the pasture. And he said, I think I'll get out of his way. Okay? And out the back gate. 那边有一个后门，所以他是到后门出去。Going on. The barn door opened again. The barn door opened again. Unbelievable! 难以相信的，很难置信的。He'd never seen any bull so big and fierce. 爆炸，可怕，凶恶。Woo! It was bigger, even bigger than the first one. Going on, the bull stood there. The bull stood there. What is that? Pawing the ground. 他是用他的脚刨地。He's just pawing the ground, looking at Dennis. Looking at Dennis. slinging slobber, grunting. Grunting is 一个很粗地的这个声音呢 grunting, okay? And slinging slobber 就是有口水流出来。Slinging is to throw, throwing 这个扔啊 okay? Slobber 是口水。Not this is not the best English. We would say saliva. Okay, saliva. But slobber is kind of 负面的. It's the same word, it's the same thing, but it's not so good to use it. So don't use it the next time you're hungry and you're 流口水. No, you aren't slobbering. Slobbering is 流出来的，真正的是流出来的。And not so. But he was slinging slobber all over the place, 满地都有. And it was looking at Dennis. And here's Dennis. Remember Dennis? Tall, bean pole, telephone pole. You know, Dennis was so thin that if you turned like this, you couldn't see him at all. And he looked at this big, bad bull. And he said, I'm going to back off. The boy backed off. 他是退。Okay. The next bull has got to be better choice than this one. 下一个公牛肯定比较好，肯定比较好。He stepped aside and let the bull gallop by. He stepped aside, okay, stepped aside, 走边啊，走边 and he let the bull gallop by. What does it mean to gallop? Gallop means to run. Horses gallop, cows gallop. It's a kind of running. It's a kind of running. So here is the bull, and it is running by. And he runs through the pasture, 这个经过这个草地，这个天地 and out the back gate, 就出这个后门呢，出这个后门。The door opened the third time. OK, 这个牛房的门呢，就开了第三次。This was the weakest, scrawniest little bull that he had ever seen. Okay, a smile came across his face. And I imagine his eyes got big. And he said, aha. Okay, what about this? This was the weakest, 最弱的 scrawny. It's the same meaning as weak, only scrawny is worse. It is 够瘦 scrawny. So this was the weakest, scrawniest little bull that he'd ever seen. 从来没有看过这么弱、这么瘦的一个公牛。And a smile. 他的脸上的笑容 It says across. When we say a smile came across a person's face, that means the smile filled his whole face. He was very happy. Okay, going on. This one is mine. This one is mine. As the bull came running by, 当这个公牛开始要跑过来的时候 he positioned himself. That means he stood in a certain way and got all ready, because what's he going to do? He's going to grab the bull's tail. And if he grabs the bull's tail, then he gets the farmer's daughter. And of course, the story says they will live happily ever after. Right? Isn't that the way all good stories end? So he positioned himself just right, and he was getting ready, and here comes the bull, and he's coming by, and he jumped at just the right moment. 刚好这个时候，他就跳过去抓。He grabbed, but the bull had no tail. 没有尾巴。Going on. Life is full of opportunities. 人生已经充满了很多机会。Some will be easy to take advantage of. 有些 Okay, what is it to take advantage of something? 把握某一件事情或某一个机会，趁着一个机会。Some will be easy to take advantage of. Some of these opportunities will be difficult. Going on. But once we let them pass by, but once we let these opportunities pass by, of course, maybe hoping for something better. Of course, that's what you're always... what does it say? There's a saying in English, hope springs eternal in the breast of man. Something like that. You're always hoping for something better. Something better, 更加好的. So you say, no, I will wait, something better. Those opportunities may never come again. Those opportunities may never come again. In fact, it's really true in life. Sometimes you have a single opportunity. And when that opportunity goes, it's finished. You don't have that opportunity again. Okay, Mrs. A, you want to join me over here? Maybe we should walk a little closer this direction. Okay. Opportunities. I guess we all have opportunities. While you were sitting over there, what were you thinking about?
Well, I was just thinking of people that are very admired, like quite a while ago, Edison.
Okay. Edison, yeah. Okay.
And it took him a long time to perfect something.
Okay, yeah. So, what was it like the lights, yes, the electric light?
The element.
He tried, what is it, more than 1,000 different things? 电灯泡. And so he tried more than 1,000 things. And he failed. But what did he learn from all of that?
That it didn't work. He had to try something else.
He had to try something else. But he kept trying. Now, we all have opportunities. I cannot help but think, sometimes we have an opportunity, but in our mind we say, but something better is going to happen.
Yes.
And so I said, I'll just wait. I won't take the opportunity. I'll just wait because something better will happen. And of course, that something better never does happen. So I guess that's what happened when I married you. Now, trust me, I'm awful skinny. 我也是蛮瘦. So I'm glad that your father didn't say, "Oh, go grab the bull's tail." That would have been bad news. Bad news.
Yes.
But I did have to talk to your dad.
Yes.
And one day, I remember, just like yesterday, I had to talk to your father. And I was so nervous. Fortunately, he wasn't like the farmer. Yeah. And so he said, "Yes, you can marry my daughter."
You didn't have to face the bull.
I didn't have to face the bull. Okay, but it's true. I had opportunities, and I made the most of my opportunities. And ladies and gentlemen, we've been married a long time, and happily so, because we took the opportunity, and we didn't miss the opportunity. Okay, well, we better talk here about an email address, theoldprinciple@gmail.com, and a website address, www.theoldprinciple.org. So, we wish that you would join us again for another interesting lesson. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.